Hello. Hello.
I hear you. Now, hello everyone and welcome to Vidane TV's coverage of the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series and tonight's event, the Loren Faulkingham Memorial 130 at New Hampshire. Kevin England here with the regular crew, producer Paul, Showtime Strickland, and my buddy Tim Terry back once again. Tim, there's no secret in this world. This is by far my favorite racetrack.
Yeah, I always love coming to Loudon, New Hampshire and seeing all the great racing here. And with this package that we have, got to see it with the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series last week. And these drivers, I believe, are going to put on one heck of a show here.
I agree. What's so cool about this racetrack is bottom, top, middle, entry, exit of the corner. Just it's so in the hands of the drivers, and with the talented drivers we have here at SIM500, I'm anticipating an outstanding show. Faulkingham, Daniel, that is, on the pole tonight. Blistering time in qualifying. He's got Kevin King, who's been on a hot streak lately, to his outside. But I'm going to tell you, I think we need to keep an eye on Macklin tonight. He's very fast at this racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely he is, as these drivers are getting ready to come to green here and kick off this race. 130 laps is going to be fun.
Pace car leads the field through turn number 3, getting ready for Daniel Faulkingham to put the hammer down and get this race underway. Faulkingham and King side by side out of turn number 4. Who will beat the other to turn number 1? We're going to see in just a second as the pace car peels off. Faulkingham hard on the throttle. Green flag is out. King is side by side with him. It's drag race down to turn number 1.
They head down to corner number 1, side by side, as they continue to battle for the lead.
King to the outside, draws hard to the backstretch. Faulkingham right underneath him. King is going to beat him into turn number 3. Faulkingham still on the quarter panel. King able to clear him as he drives deep into that outside lane. Out of turn number 4 for the first time. Kevin King in the lead. Faulkingham looks low, then pulls right back in. Right behind him, Josh Parker, Pedro Mojica, and Tyler Dalton settle into your top 5.
Key to this race is going to be trying to figure out what goes on here and trying to figure out your race cars and who you're racing around, because this race has the potential of being a little bit wild.
Everybody kind of settles in right now, but we have a battle there for the 5th position. The 22 of Nelson Rivera tucks underneath, trying to get under Tyler Dalton. The car steps out on him coming out of turn number 4. The car's really loose out of the corner. That's going to allow the 33 of Byron Daly to jump to the inside. Kevin Brown sneaks to the outside of Daly. Every time you lose a little momentum, the driver behind you is going to fill that slot that you left open.
Absolutely, and especially with this package, the clean air is your friend. The dirty air that you're battling around with these 2 and maybe even 3 wide that we're going to see throughout this evening, going to have to be on your toes and really know and kind of trust, Kevin, who you're racing with.
Yeah, up front, it continues to be Kevin King leading over Daniel Faulkingham. Faulkingham stalking him about a half car length behind him. Now draws to the back bumper. Was going to peak low. Didn't get a good run off the turn number 2 to the backstretch. Still hunting that line, looking to see if he can get underneath. And one of the things I know about Faulkingham, he would love to get out front and get some of that clean air.
Yeah, absolutely he would, as this field runs by. And you can see a couple of those drivers up front get single file. Byron Daly battling with Nelson Rivera. A couple of side-by-side battles as you ride on board with Tyler Dalton trying to get through this field. This is calm compared to what we've seen with some of the races with this package at Loudon. And these drivers doing a great job so far.
Yeah, the great news about this car is you drive it down into the corner, and then once it finally hooks up, you have plenty of room to make it turn and get off the corner. So these drivers running right at the edge every time they enter the corner, and really they're in control about how much speed they get on the drive off through the center. If there's ever a racetrack, Tim, where drive in, drive through center, drive off makes a difference, it's here at New Hampshire.
You see the top two kind of breaking away just a little bit here. And for the most part, those drivers in behind have really found a place to race right now. There's really no forcing of the issue. Mike Kelly's trying to take a little bit of a higher line on Kevin Brown, trying to get that right rear quarter and try to set up that pass. But for the most part, as you see the onboard from Nelson Rivera, they are just kind of riding in front of him.
And paddles throughout this racetrack, looking all the way deep through the field. That's one of the things that's not apparent when you're watching the broadcast sometimes, is how hard the drivers race out in the back. Scott Simley looks underneath the 8 of Randy Yoakum as they come through turn number 4, but going to back out of the throttle here as we go under caution for the first time here in New Hampshire.
That'll bring in our buddy Paul Strickland Jr. with the Kong Beer Bong Instant Replay. And Paul, I believe, I see one car there slow on the back. That is Ron Holyfield bringing out the first caution, but it looks fit.
Yeah, tough break for the 90 car, having a solid run early on here. A little bit towards the back, but still doing relatively okay up until here. We're pulling up on the old instant replay right now, brought to you by Kong Beer Bong. Be sure to check those guys out, kong.2drunk.net. But here you can see running towards the back of the pack, right behind Richard Beasley there in that tied 10 car, and there's some contact between Joey Gattina and the 90 car. We're going to back that up one more time and see if we can get a camera that's not going to change. There you can see the 90 loses the back end of the corner, or the back end of the car coming out of the corner, and Joey Gattina nowhere to go, and that 14 car smashes into the back of that Smith & Wesson logo.
Joey could not buy bad luck. He couldn't buy any luck at all as he pulls in to get some service, and I'm sure they're going to do some damage repair to the right front of that car. It looks like quite a few drivers went to pit road here for that incident. A little early to change tires. These drivers can run somewhere around 80 laps on fuel, so it is going to be about tires in this race. They're allowed to have a number of sets, 4 to begin with, including the ones they started on. So I suspect it's a little early, Paul and Tim, for changing up those tires.
So you would think you would go 40, 40, and 40 maybe, if that's you're going to use all 4 sets of tires, but or a little less than that. We're going 130 laps tonight, so maybe you go split it in half and go 60 if you're at the back of the field. You have that opportunity to kind of play if you really want to, but I would say probably a little too early for these drivers up in front of the pit as the field begins to double up. Kevin King will have Daniel Faulkingham to the outside, Josh Parker, Pedro Mojica. Most of the 8 fixed races here this week, Kevin, at least on the sim side, the iRacing side, have been 55 laps. So it doesn't seem like a long time, but when you run these laps at 30 seconds a lap, the time begins to add up just a little bit. But this race is going to fly by really quickly, especially if they continue the pace that they did in the first 8 laps.
Yeah, this racetrack tends to be feast or famine. Very close on the restarts, puts everybody in contact with each other, especially as the race wears on. But if you can get 5 laps out, and you tend to see a lot of green flag racing, we'll have to see how the dynamic plays out as the pace car about to turn the field over to Kevin. Kevin comes back to the throttle with Faulkingham on the outside. The roles reverse this time as they head to turn 1. We'll see if this outside lane has any advantage, but King shot out of a cannon. He's going to get a good start as 23 of Parker ducks underneath and is challenging for second.
Yeah, got into the left rear quarter of the 39, and Parker's still trying to fight that race car. Byron Daly going to take a little peek to the inside, trying to get to the left rear of the Bud Light number 23, and Parker's still fighting that race car. Byron Daly pulls in to that left rear and tries to get that run. Pedro Mojica right there as well, and behind them, side by side, Tyler Dalton battling with the 22 of Nelson Rivera. Good run for both of those drivers early here.
Your drivers have to be really careful. You have to ease on the throttle coming up out of the corner. The car will jump sideways, similar to what we saw the 90 do before, especially if you're on the inside in turn number 4. The car gets really loose coming up off the corner over there. You look at Tyler Dalton running underneath. He wants to get hard to the throttle, but he knows he's got to be careful. One car sliding sideways, that's a common theme. Here, a car will get loose coming out of the corner. Driver has to catch it. It was Jeff Hollingsworth in the 97 sliding as everybody else seems to be minding their P's and Q's. Still side by side for that 7th and 8th position with Fuller trying to take the position.
It looks like Fuller will pick up that position on Tyler Dalton, and behind them, Kevin Brown and Mike Kelly continuing their battle that they started prior to the yellow flag. The only difference being Mike Kelly is now working the inside of the 93 and now the rear bumper as he falls back in behind car number 93. For the most part, these guys are single file trying to work their way through, except for one car middle of the pack. Bentley Glazer nearly got Scott Stenzel in the middle of 1 and 2, but they still remain side by side as Stenzel tries to take it away on the outside. Bentley almost had a moment. Great save by those two.
As we said before, they're side-by-side battles all the way through the pack. Drivers on the inside trying to get advantage up off the corner. Looking back at Hollifield, the number 90 Smith & Wesson Camaro that we saw involved in that first incident, currently running in that 29th position. The back end of the car bounced out a little bit, but they beat it out fairly straight. Looks like he's holding his own. Right behind him is Joey Jatina, who did make the contact with him. The two of them have a lot of work to do, but a lot of time to get back up here and be competitive in this race.
You know, looking through this field, Kevin, there's some drivers that maybe had subpar qualifying efforts that we're starting to see work their way to the front. Jose Gonzalez being one of them. He's running back there in 23rd. He's got some work to do. Tommy Ryan's had some really good runs this season as they almost go 3 wide ahead of that battle. Looking at Adam Gilliland, started 24th. He battles with Randy Yoakum, almost has a moment with Randy Yoakum as he passes the 8 car in 12th. And Randy having a good run early in this one, started 10th, back to what is now position number 13. So there's some drivers that I think didn't necessarily get the qualifying effort that they want to, Kevin, and they're coming through the field. Keep your eye on Adam Gilliland. I think he's probably the most surprising out of those couple that I just mentioned.
Yeah, following on what Adam has said from previous conversations, probably didn't get that much of a chance to test practice. He's literally down on the apron over there in turn 3 and 4. That is racetrack, I guess, at this place. And, you know, he's just going to get a feel for this car. And it probably takes him about 10, 15 laps to get it figured out. And he is on the march as he dives underneath the 12 of Simley. I've seen drivers this week running the apron, but literally 4 tires below the yellow line. Not sure I've seen too much of that.
We saw it a couple of times in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, especially with Matt Busa and a couple of those drivers that needed to make up time and needed to make up positions, and that was the way they were able to do it, go where they're not. And Adam Gilliland has picked up a couple of spots up to position number 11 now as the caution flag will fly. We got one around at the top of the straightaway there into turn 4.
Yeah, EJ O'Rourke is nosed into the wall over there in turn number 4 as we go to the Kong Beer Bong replay, trying to get that car sorted out and heading in the right direction. And he's going to turn that car around and head back down to turn number 1. Caution number 2 here, lap number 18.
And another look here at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, and you can see EJ down on the apron using that apron that we were just talking about, you guys, to turn the car, and it looks like it worked just a little bit too well there coming out of turn number 4, using the apron to try and get that car to really stick to the bottom. Got the grip he needed, just a little bit too much, spun the car around. Luckily, no casualties here for the personal comfort number 41, no damage on that machine, and it doesn't look like he hit anybody else here as we go through the replay.
Tim, lest it look like he ran out of talent, let me tell you, running down there on the apron is really complicated. You get down there and the car is on an off angle. You could slide down just a little bit, but eventually you hit that transition where the track starts the banking. And if you get those right side tires, it de-wedges the car and it makes the car just completely come around. You've got to lift out of the throttle, but if you have too much momentum, you're going to do what the 41 did there and go around, as we see drivers heading to pit road. One of them, Kevin King, heading in for service.
Yeah, intriguing call here, especially with the most of the rest of the field not coming down. But Kevin, did you say that EJ O'Rourke ran out of talent?
I didn't say that.
But in order to run out
Just
of something,
to be clear.
in order to run out of something, don't you need to have it to begin with?
Now, did you say that EJ doesn't have any talent?
I mean, that's what we're implying here. We kid because we care. We like EJ over here.
We do.
But
we'll just poke him in the ribs a little bit there. But
Yeah.
I do know, as we were talking about, driving down there on that apron is a slippery slope sometimes. Boy, there's not a ton of grip. You have to float the car in perfectly, and it's a tough thing to do lap after lap. He was making good time, as was Adam Gilliland. It just looks like it backfired for him over there in turn number 4. How about the pit by King here on lap 21? I'm kind of surprised at that.
Yeah, I am too. It almost looked like the field was going to follow him. And Kevin, it's one of those things that you do what the leader doesn't. And Daniel Faulkingham stayed out on the racetrack because Kevin King came down pit road. I think it's one of those things he's going to do what the leader doesn't. And you can see it on the screen. Top 19, I believe, stayed out on the racetrack. So there's some work to be done for some of those drivers that are at the back of this field, especially a guy like Kevin King who needs to pick his way through.
So let's play speculation. We know last week that Kevin talked to us about strategy and thinking about how things went and stayed out and won the race on tire wear. And this is a track where tire wear doesn't really make that much difference. Yes, fresh tires are super important, but once you get going a couple laps and you get that rhythm, it levels off. And maybe he's anticipating a long green flag run. He's going to put that new tire feel to good use here in the middle stretch. That's where my head is. I don't know if we're going to see that prove out or not, but I'm just trying to think of reasons why he might have ducked in there.
Well, he's got 2 more tire sets for 110 laps or less to get it done. I don't think it's a bad call unless something happens that you get a couple of cautions and you get trapped back there track position wise. Maybe he's looking for a challenge, trying to crack that top 20 in points. He's pretty much there when you include the 4 drops. So he can. I don't want to say he can afford to do something like this, Kevin, but he may be able to have a little bit of comfort in playing around in a strategy like this.
Yeah, talking point strategy, Kevin did bounce into that top 20 with his win last week. Currently sitting 19th in points, 315 markers back behind your leader, Daniel Faulkingham, who is your leader of the race, getting ready to go back to green flag here. And, well, we'll see how this strategy plays out. I want to see how fast he comes through the field back there with fresh tires. That'll tell everybody a little bit of something as we go back to green here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, so keep your eye on that one at the back and keep your eye on the front of the pack as well, as Faulkingham and the 33 of Byron Daly will lead them down the back straight away with the 23 of Josh Parker right in behind. And the field scatters in, and you can see on that low side, just from that pan shot, Kevin King is making his way through.
Daniel Faulkingham leading the Faulkingham 130. This race dedicated to his father, who passed away a little bit ago, and decided to dedicate this race to his memory. And it's got to be a proud moment for him to be out front. As we were talking about drivers going down to the apron, well, Kevin King 3 wide now underneath Scott Stenzel, underneath the 26 and the 13, getting 4 cars in one clip over there in turn number 3 and making full advantage of those fresh tires. He is currently running in the 18th position, carving his way through the field.
And I know Kevin did a couple of A-Fix races earlier this past week when the series was at Loudon, and he's done a couple of these calls and he's made a couple of these strategy moves. So I think if anybody's going to do it and know what the car is going to do and know what these tires are going to do, it's going to be Kevin. But I think he probably anticipated some more cars to come down with him rather than what he had. And now he's going to go to the inside of Glazer to put him in the rearview mirror. That is the battle for position number 16 on your screen.
Yeah, he was literally to the grass over there in turn number 3 a moment ago. As out front, it continues to be the same. Faulkingham is leading. Giving chase right now, Byron Daly, who's had a good run through the early summer, currently running second and has come through in the point championship to be second in points, 114. So as they run in the season point standings, they run on the racetrack. Josh Parker is in third in the point standings and also third on the racetrack. So Cream rises to the top here, Tim.
Yeah, you can see the single file action back to about position number 7 or 8 or so, and then it starts to get a little bit hectic around Adam Gilliland and Justin Fuller, and Adam trying to make his way through this field. Tyler Dalton there as well, still having a great run up to position number 6. So some great battles here throughout the pack. It starts right about here as Adam Gilliland continues to try to get past Fuller.
Pedro Mojica running fourth, is fourth in points. He led the points early in the season and dropped back a little bit. He's got 1 win on the season, 6 top 5s, 10 top 10s, but just has not been showing up in that podium top 5 area lately. But right now, currently running in the 4th position and having a good run here at Loudon.
Yeah, we have a couple of drivers that are having really good runs. You look at Pedro, you look at Nelson Rivera. Tyler Dalton's back here, but he's got his hands completely full with Kevin King and the 51 as we start to see a battle for second brew up as Parker goes to the inside of Byron Daly for that runner-up position, and he'll take that one away and try to reel in the 39 in Faulkingham.
Well, if we wanted to know how that was going to work out for Kevin King, well, currently in the 10th position. Incredible. In the number of laps he's had, he's physically driven a lane that nobody else is using except for Gilliland, we saw a little earlier, and he's driven himself up to the 8th place position with those fresh tires. Everybody has to be paying attention, but I can only imagine, Tim, that if you've not driven down on that apron, there's no way you're going to try and figure that out in this race.
You might have to out of desperation if you're in the middle of the pack and you think it's going to work for you, but you're not going to drive it all the way down there and just, kind of see how it goes. The guys that are down there, the guys that know what they're doing, are probably going to be not necessarily bottom feeding, but it's down on that bottom side of the apron as Kevin King looks at Adam Gilliland, and that battle will be for position number 6.
Saw Justin Fuller go down there just a moment ago. He turned the car down in the last run through 3 and 4, not doing it in 1 and 2. He got down to carve, and he got tagged by the number 5 of Trey Edson coming across the racetrack as he goes underneath the 19 of Tyler Dalton. But the race is up front. Here comes the 88. He's made his way underneath the 81, now drives deep into turn number 3. Nelson Rivera looks out of his left view and goes, that was Kevin King. Didn't I see him pit a few minutes ago?
Yeah, he's making his way up fairly quickly as the 88 works to the inside of Pedro Mojica. That is a battle for position number 4, and might be for third here in a moment because Byron Daly's not too far. Oh, hello, that's not going to help. Kevin King, 88 sideways, and all those positions that he gained and all those Mr. Feelgoods on the tires, that's not going to help.
He is so lucky he didn't tag the inside wall over there at the exit. It almost looked like he was trying to come off a pit lane. If he just snuck that wall, boy, he would have hammered it hard. Now he sits underneath Tyler Dalton, dropping back, 5 positions, losing on that. That shows that how complicated it is to race down there.
Absolutely. It's a fine line, and you really have to straddle it, and Kevin kind of maybe just overstepped that line just a wee bit, and now he's going to make up all that ground that he just had made back up, and going to start with the inside of Trey Edson to pick up position number 8. Faulkingham continues to lead as we complete lap number 35 this time by, and Josh Parker's reeling him in, but a little bit slower per lap.
Yeah, I'd imagine Kevin King looking at his crew chief saying, boy, did you see that over there? Almost destroyed the car.
Yeah, you look back there, he's still trying to dig on the inside and trying to make up that time. And the good news is that he's got plenty of time, and once he makes up those positions, he'll be back on the same even keel as everybody else tire-wise. But he's He's got some time to get up there and try to make it happen as Macklin goes to the inside of Kevin Brown.
Yeah, just had to collect his breath and get things sorted out and back underway. As I see the 51 of Justin Fuller low down, trying to make his way underneath the 81 of Adam Gilliland over there in turn 3 and 4. Now Gilliland down on the apron, blocking that line for Fuller. Yeah, some of these drivers all trying to hunt for the same real estate. See, they watch Kevin go by and realize that that's a line. And we talked about having to practice it. Well, now they're all right there. Is up front, almost identical times. Faulkingham 30.84 to Parker's 30.83. Two of the fastest cars on the racetrack are your leader and your second place driver. They're on cruise controls. 3, almost 4 wide over in turn 4. Rivera had to look out his left window and say, I can't believe you put that car in there. As the 51 of Fuller running down on the bottom. King threads the needle, drives right through. He's going to pull over and take up that 5th position. 6th position. Now he's hunting the outside of the 81 of Adam Gilliland into the back bumper of Pedro Mojica. I think he sees the top 2 cars driving away and wants to make sure that he's not going to let them get too far out.
Yeah, you look at this battle back here. Everybody's really on top of each other, and you have to do something different than everybody else. As Kevin King is trying everything he can to get that ground back that he lost, and he's about where he was before he made that spin or half spin or whatever you want to call it, and now he moves up one more, puts himself up to position number 4, and Byron Daly will be there at position number 3. Then it becomes a little more difficult for Kevin King and the rest of the field because he's got about 2 seconds, a little less than 2 seconds to catch Josh Parker.
And if you watch Kevin's car go into the corner, that's what I was talking about earlier. Run the car right to the edge of the grip. But Kevin floats the car in, gets the car set on the right side. Once the car starts to feel a little bit of a traction, he can squeeze on that throttle just a bit. And then as long as he doesn't break that traction, he can just gas it off and come off the corner. And when we talk about on the edge of control, Kevin has got it figured out here. And, we talked on the opening that this is a driver's track. It's about that feel coming into the corner, through the center of the corner, getting the car to rotate, and then somehow getting it to drive up off the corner straight without breaking traction. And you're seeing mastery here of Kevin King. He's just sliced his way through the field in 3rd and currently running 3/10 of a lap faster than your leader.
Yes, great side-by-side racing here, though, is the 81 of Adam Gilliland will pick up a spot. Justin Fuller trying to pick up a spot as well, and it looks like Byron Daly and Pedro Mojica, Fuller nearly gets the wall at it too, albeit they're still on the same tires, these drivers up in front, but it looks like on the long, and we've had a couple of cautions, but it looks like the longer run not being very kind to Byron Daly and Pedro Mojica. Yes, Adam Gilliland started deep in this field, but Justin Fuller started in 7th, kind of fell back, worked his way up. I think the longer run, the older these tires get, the more the fuel burns off. I think it's helping Justin Fuller more than it is maybe necessarily a Byron Daly or a Pedro Mojica as you ride on board with the Valvoline at number 33 of Byron Daly.
Daly dives it down into the corner, watches out of his windshield as the 51 streaks by the 58 of Pedro Mojica, sporting a little damage on the left rear. Adam Gilliland trying to get all the sweep he could coming out of turn number 1 down to the apron. Tagged the back of the 58 on turn in. Just misjudged a little bit. Right front clip, the back end shoved in the left rear of the 58. The good news for him is if you're going to get damage, I guess that's the best place, Tim, for it, is it doesn't impact your performance too much.
Yeah, absolutely not. As the 5 of Trey Edson tries to look for something different, kind of looked at that outside line there, that second groove around Pedro Mojica, but can't make it work. He falls back another car length or so as Daniel Faulkingham continues to pace this field up in front 7/10 of a second. Parker, you kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit earlier. Parker will have a lap or two that he's faster than Daniel Faulkingham, but we're having a second place battle now as Kevin King goes by. So Kevin King has reeled in Josh Parker. Past Josh Parker, now reeling in Daniel Faulkingham. But between Parker and Faulkingham, they kind of been going back and forth with fast laps, but they've had that air in between them. We'll see how long it takes Kevin King to catch the 39.
That's where Kevin King has that Days of Thunder moment where he goes, "Remember me?" as he gets to the back bumper of the 39 of Faulkingham. This answers a lot of questions, and it'll be curious to see if Daniel is able to change his tires and, answer the same calls. I'm watching the 30 of Brian Macklin drive underneath the 22 out of turn number 4, just trying to get that position, had to pinch the car down, didn't get the run he was looking for, still at the quarter panel. This is a contest for 9th. Macklin drives it in deep. Now they're door to door. Macklin's car jumps a little sideways through the center of the corner and big slip out of the corner, unable to hold the traction that we were talking about out of the corner on throttle, and that's going to allow Nelson Rivera to streak away and maintain that position of 9.
And a battle for the lead up in front. Kevin King and Daniel Faulkingham side by side for the top spot, and Kevin King trying to take it away from the 39, works to the inside. This has been about a lap in the making, and Faulkingham just barely there on the right rear quarter, but not anymore. Kevin King drives off with it, and he will lead it down the back straight away. So was your leader earlier, comes back up through the pack, and now Kevin King will come by, and he will lead a lap number 49 as they come up at a
going to go out to a car length and a half advantage over Daniel Faulkingham. Now Faulkingham's just going to follow in his footsteps. Watch it, and let's come back to that conversation we had. Did it make sense for Kevin to pit? We're on that long green flag trajectory that we talked about, Tim. You could run 80 laps. Last caution was lap number 18. Will we go to almost lap 100 and see green flag pit stops? Hard to say, but the driver in the best position is the one out front.
And at that point, do you kind of run the race backwards if you can go 80 laps on the fuel? And if you're an Adam Gilliland or a Justin Fuller, and you might be a little bit better on those older tires, do you take that gamble and maybe come down at lap 65 or 70 and be able to make it the rest of the way to 130 on fuel and short change that 80 number just a little bit? Kevin King really doesn't have to worry about that because he's got 20 more laps on the fuel when you include those 18 when it comes to that. A couple of extra laps there with the caution at the back end of it. But interesting to see what some of these drivers do if they do have any strategy calls, knowing that this race, and I don't want to jinx it, but it has a green flag look to it.
Yeah, that's one of those things where drivers are talking to their crew chiefs, trying to figure out what the notebook is telling them. I would have imagined, I didn't want to jinx it earlier, but I would imagine we would get to green flag runs like this where the cars are going to stretch out. Everybody's going to have their little micro races. And as long as everybody keeps the car underneath of them, I think we're going to see this for quite a while. One of the cars I'm looking at, currently in the 12th position, Chad Coleman, Chaparral Tuning Camaro. That car's fast here. We've seen him run really well in the number 38 at New Hampshire. Had a good race in the truck race the other day. And I just suspect as the long green flag run goes, some of these drivers may have been taking care of their equipment. And if we get to go to lap number 100, another 50 laps, I would anticipate that's one driver that's going to come forward. See a battle out in front of him side by side with the 51 of Justin Fuller peeking underneath the 33 of Byron Daly. Got to the door but wasn't able to make the charge. Daly comes down, covers the position of the apron as the 51 really able to turn the car down and come low off of turn 4.
It does a great job there as the yellow flag will fly. So there goes all that pit strategy that we were just talking about out the window. It's Joey Katina in the back straightaway. That'll bring up the yellow flag for the third time here this evening. So we will get Paul Strickland Jr. to cue up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. And Paul, where he got going, he ends up being, I believe, one lap down to Kevin King. And I'm not sure if Joey had any help or if it was on his own, but we'll find out.
Yeah, it looks like he was down there on the backstretch grass trying to carve out a SIM500 logo with the car. But let's take a quick peek here at what happened to the 14 car. See, getting in turn number 3, 41 a little bit loose in front of him, but not no contact there. We're a little bit loose again there. It actually looks like something going on in front of the 9 car with Bobby Wetzel that kind of had these guys spooked a little bit. We'll back it up one more time. We saw the big wiggle out of that black and chrome number 9 car, and you can see he comes out of the corner here, loses the back end of the race car, probably on the throttle just a little bit too tight or too much, and the 41 and the 14 really just trying to avoid each other and Calamity at the same time, and looks like Joey Gatina got the better or the worse end of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. The 41 was sideways, and the 14 just didn't want to run into him. Good news for Joey is that he went into the grass but never made hard contact. Now the action picks up on pit road, and all the leaders going down at this time. We saw Kevin going in, Daniel going in. Second set of tires for Kevin King as he drops into his box. The 39 right in front of him. Good pitch selection for the 39, so we'll see how this is going to work out as the race off of pit road might be won here by the crews.
We'll see who ends up getting this race off of pit road. As this is going to be a key pit stop. It's Kevin King and Daniel Faulkingham 1-2 off with Parker. It looks like Adam Gilliland and Byron Daly, your top 5 coming off of pit road. So key pit stop, 57 laps into a 130-lap race, just under 80 laps to go. So if that 80-lap window is the one that we're watching, they may be able to make it on fuel. They may be a little bit tight as long as they pack the fuel load full on this pit stop. But we'll see how this all ends up coming out on the other end. But Kevin King is going to be your leader by the looks of it. The only one that's staying out on the racetrack is Joey Gatina. Assume he would probably get the free pass or the wave around per se to keep him on the lead lap.
You always forget that you could drive through the cars in the way that the sim works here. They just could never get the physics straight where pit road works the actual way. If Kevin had to turn out and go around the 39, I believe Faulkingham would have beat him off, but Mr. King is going to lead us back to green. As I agree with you, Joey Gatina is going to probably do the wave around here. He's certainly not going to want to be in the position with old tires to restart right there in front of the leaders. My guess is that Joey's banking on a quick caution so that he can get fresh Goodyears on that number 14.
And it's good to see here this evening that once Joey gets around the pace car and gets back to the tail end of the field, all 30 cars that started are still on the lead lap. Elliot Henderson. And there comes the 14 down onto pit road. So never mind, he is going to be the first driver and only driver. 1 lap behind the pace. Elliot Henderson did not answer the call to the green. He did practice earlier, so he'll be credited with a 31st place finish here this evening. The lights are out atop the pace car. They're doubled up, and we're getting ready to go back to green. When we come by the next time, we'll have 59 laps completed in this Loren Faulkingham Memorial 130. And Daniel doing a great job out there trying to put that thing in victory lane.
King, Faulkingham, Parker, Gill, and Daly, your top 5. Fuller, Edson, Mojica, Brown in 9th, and Rivera is your 10th place driver. These drivers get a little break, got to get in their headspace, figure out what their strategy is, look how many laps to go. All of them on fresh tires, so now what happens? Hard to say. As fast as the 88 has been, it'll be curious to see if the 39 is going to challenge him down into turn number 1. But looking behind him, the 81, Adam Gilliland, 20-plus positions coming up to be in this top 5. He's got a fast car here tonight. We can't count him out.
And there goes the green flag in the air, and there goes Kevin King. Great jump for the 88 car. He'll dive it into corner number 1. The battle will be for second behind him because here comes the Interstate Batteries 23 of Josh Parker. And the last time we saw a restart, Kevin, Josh was a little bit sideways. Car got a little out from underneath him, but now it looks pretty good underneath Faulkingham as they go toe-to-toe down to the 3.
Yeah, straight off of turn 2 gives him a good advantage. He's got a car length ahead. Here comes the 81 of Gilliland looking down there on the apron. The 23 is going to score that position. 23 2 second. 39 of Faulkingham drops into 3rd. High pressure by Adam Gilliland right behind him, but everybody running nose to tail clean out of turn number 2 to the backstretch one more time. Good run for Trey Edson here, sitting in 5th. We have not talked about him as Well, we got one car's backwards. I think that's possibly the 8 of Yoakum over there in the grass.
Be a tough break for Randy Yoakum. He ran up in the top 10 for a lot of this race and kind of flirted with a top 10 run. But now, Paul, he's going to have to go to the back because he's got some work to do. What happened with this Kong Beer Bong instant replay?
Looks like just a little bit of contact coming out of turn number 2. We'll take a quick peek here. Get the cameras all wound up. You can see running kind of in between a 2-car sandwich there. 2 cars behind him, 2 cars in behind, or in front of him there. And gets a little bit of loving there from the red and black car. I know there's a couple of them there. I didn't catch the number on them, but didn't look like too big of a hit. Just kind of a lazy spin down through the grass, grabbed the gear, and kept on going. So good news for Randy Yoakum, not much damage. Bad news, gonna have to restart back here in 30th.
Field is collected behind the pace car coming out of turn number 4 as we are working caution number 4 of the evening. Good news for Joey Chitina. He's going to get back to the lead lap, being the lucky dog in this position. You see the 51 dropping back there on the front stretch. I don't know if he went up to take a look at somebody's car, give them a report, as we see the 8 heading to pit road after that spin over there in turn number 2.
I think that was the 99 of Tommy Ryan that got into him, and I believe those are both Snap Mobile cars. So I don't know if there's going to be any hard feelings or any communication at the team meeting on Tuesday with this SIM500 Transervice Cup Series team, but I might want to put that in the memory bank, put that one in the back of your mind.
Yeah, Tim, while we're under caution here, speaking at the 2021 Transervice Team Challenge, the payouts $850, $400 for the winner, $200 for second, $125 for third. Currently, the Bill Schoonover Racing Team with Josh Parker and Daniel Faulkingham is leading that battle. Second is Lanza Sharp Motorsports, Byron Daly, Chad Coleman, and right behind them is Scott Stenzel's Personal Comfort Team number 1, Adam Gittleman and Justin Fuller. What do we have? 17 teams, I think, registered in this. Those top 3 have been performing the best combos of the season so far, and I'll rate this race. Parker and Faulkingham doing a spectacular job at covering their lead. Looking to see if they can get that $400 prize come later this year, the 2021 Transervice Team Challenge.
And give it to Gilliland and Fuller as well, both drivers in the top 6 as we work through. I know Kevin King was a little bit late to the party when it came to getting a teammate for that challenge, so he'll I think he's running it, I guess you call it an independent Kevin right now, and doing a pretty darn good job in front of this field.
Yeah, 5 wins for that Schoonover team compared to 4 wins for the Personal Comfort number 1 team sitting there in third. It's just been consistency that has paid dividends for Faulkingham and Parker when it comes to top 5, top 10s as field rolls around here getting ready for the 1 to go. Lap 64, everybody has the same tires. We didn't see anybody up in the top go get service this go around, so it's really kind of a reset, and we'll see where things are going. To go back to that restart for Parker, I think he somehow figured out how to get off turn 2 straight. Boy, that car launched up underneath, and the inside line was the advantage that puts him in second for this restart.
See what Kevin can do on that inside and see what kind of restart that the 23 car gets. And you mentioned it, he was kind of a little bit, the car looked a little bit nervous, let's put it that way, in the last 2 restarts. And now he'll have not only Kevin King to the inside, but if Kevin gets a great jump here, Daniel Faulkingham going to be right back at him on the inside. The good news is after this lap, we will be halfway home in this one. Hopefully these drivers have a couple of quick cautions. They can find their rhythm now and see what they can do for the second half of this SIM500 Transervice Cup Series race.
King has snookered him on every restart. This time I don't think he's going to get away with it. Everybody kind of charged up as he drives off. Parker to the outside. Good jump by Adam Gilliland from the outside row is 23 right down on the right rear quarter panel of the 88 on turn 2, but King going to cover him. He's still in the lead going down the backstretch.
Parker doing a great job holding on the right rear quarter, and here comes Adam Gilliland. Gilliland, you know, is going to waste little time after his subpar qualifying effort. The 23 of Parker goes to that inside, kind of flashes half the nose down there, but nothing doing. Keeping Kevin King honest up in front, and now he looked to the inside. Nothing happening there as they go through 1 and 2. And look at the run that he gets in the middle of the corner.
And now the car steps out on him just like before, couldn't keep it straight. What I think he was trying to do was get to that quarter panel, side draft, pull him back. Unfortunately, the car stepped out. That's going to let him slide back, and Gilliland gets right to the bumper cover. Gilliland turns down to look to see if he can get something out of turn number 4. Parker going to hold that position in the top 4, has settled with King. Out front, here comes Fuller in that 4th position trying to challenge.
Fuller trying to make a bid for position number 3, the 5 of Trey Edson kind of behind them as well, looking to make something happen. Byron Daly, as a caution flag will fly one more time, so we'll slow these drivers down, and we'll see what brought the other multi-car incident in the back straightaway, including Scott Stenzel in the 63. We'll back up the Kong Beerbong instant replay and see what happened, but I don't think, Paul, it started with the 63, happens up the road with the Tyler Dalton number 19, and the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth is the reason why this caution flag flew.
So we'll pull that up one more time here, and we're going to take a look at it from the blimp just so we can get everything we can see here. We're going to focus in on that 97 car and company up about the center of the screen here. And there's the contact right on the straightaway. I'm actually going to back that up just a little bit because that caught me off guard. And you can see the 19 and the 97 there make contact, and it's really tough to tell what happened. The 97 might not have gotten cleared there. That's a little bit fishy to me. I'll let you guys make that call, but great heads-up driving by Richard Beasley. He's going to take the road course down through there and make sure he gets out of calamity. We should see him rejoin the track over here somewhere.
Paul, can we back that up one more time and see what Richard Beasley did? Because he may not have missed everything in this wreck.
Well, it did a relatively good job there. You can see the wreck. We'll take a look from Beasley's standpoint here. Wreck happens in front of him. Big time smoke, goes low, gets contact there from Tommy Ryan, comes down the road course, forgets to turn left. He turned left a little bit, forgets the other S there, hits the curb, makes a jump off all 4 wheels, comes back out on turn number 4. Pretty sure that's a legal lap here.
That's a legal lap. I did that once this week. It's not smooth by any means going down there when you slip off the track and go into the grass over there by that road course, but you can somehow make it work as we see the tracks in the grass over there for Mr. Beasley's signature.
Yeah, and Richard, he almost had that thing cleared. Tommy Ryan come down to avoid that wreck and got into Beasley, so he's going to have a lot of right side damage and probably right front corner damage to that race car. He's back on the racetrack, but sporting a little bit of right side damage and even to the right rear. That thing's kind of caved in a little bit, but he'll get back on the racetrack. 30 cars still remain on the racetrack, and all 30 are on the lead lap.
Yeah, similar to one of the events in the real NASCAR world, he's fortunate that the runoff road was available for the entry to the road course over there, or he would have plowed it right into the grandstand. And it looked a little bit like a cue shot off the left bank for a full shot there from the blimp, the way he careened off the 99.
Yeah, we'll see what he's got left. He's got one side of the race car that's good, the other side little worse for wear. But we're getting ready, it looks like, to come back to the green flag. 71 laps completed this time. And we'll see how Josh Parker reacts in this restart. Kevin King lights out, though. Green flag flies, leaves the field in the dust.
Yeah, no question about that. 4 car lengths going down the front straightaway into turn number 1. He's going to lead by command coming out of turn 2 to the backstretch. Field still side by side through the majority of the group, back about past 5th, 6th, 7th, as everybody just trying to get sorted out here, get whatever positions. Opportunity, Tim, when caution knocks, as we see one car slide down into pit road. That might have been Macklin, I think, going over there.
And it is the 30. We stay green, though, because he spins onto pit road in the season that he has had the wheels continue to fall off for Brian Macklin. He'll may as well come down and get service to the race car. Why not? Up in front continues to be Kevin King. and the 23 of Josh Parker leading as Brian Macklin has pulled that car behind the wall. He has retired.
Yeah, it's got to be utter frustration for Brian. He just cannot get a break this season. He kind of has the Eric Amarola look to it. Just got loose off the corner. The good news is he didn't tag the inside wall, but slid into pit road, and he's going to be 1 to 2 laps down, and I guess he just didn't want to race that way.
And especially with every other driver being on the lead lap right now, I can kind of see that as Justin Fuller in behind Josh Parker goes to the apron and tries to pick up a little bit more, but almost fought the farm as the top two. You see that gap now after Fuller had that little wrestle with the race car, I guess, and a little gap back, but there might be a little bit more because here comes Josh Parker setting up Kevin King off of corner number 2 and down the bank straightaway they go, looking at the 23 to try to take that position away. He'll drive it deep into 3, and new leader is Josh Parker.
That's a move he was trying to execute the other lap as the yellow comes out one more time. Got to the quarter panel, pulled Kevin King back, then drove the car down. As we see troubles for the 6, we'll go to the Con Beer Bong replay and see what happened over there off of turn 2.
Yeah, it looks like we had another quick little incident where we lost the kind of control of the back tires here, but we got it pulled up on the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, and we'll give it to you full speed here. Focus in on that 6 monster ride. I can see some contact on the 13. 13 looked like he was trying to get out of the way, off the pace just a little bit. Everything's good to go halfway through the corner, and then just loses the back end of the car. That makes a little bit more sense why the caution came out, and we'll take another look at the replay there. That's going to be 13 of David Comstock. And I want to back this up and really, really look at this footage that we're taking a peek at. So there you see the 13 way up high, kind of getting out of everybody's way here. And then a hard left-hand turn. So that's, I'll let you guys make the call on that one.
A lot of that going around here tonight, Tim.
Yeah, I'm taking one more look at it myself, and it would have been a clean hit if David Comstock would have cleared the 19 of Tyler Dalton. There's been a lot of that this season, and I don't know if David was trying to make it look a little. He was trying. I'm trying to make excuses for David Comstock, Kevin. Joey Gattina was slow ahead of him. Maybe tried to go low. Maybe didn't know that Tyler Dalton was there. But that doesn't really look good. Like if you look at the replay right here, the 14, it's a little slow off the corner. Gets a good run there, and then all it just drifts down, and that doesn't look great.
I will say there is the possibility when you see the 14 come off, the 14 was so against the wall, almost brushed it. It could be possible that David yanked the wheel left to stay off the 14, thinking he was going to come off the wall, and that brought him across the nose. So as much as, we're having a moment with this, I think there's the possibility that he was just trying to avoid Joey coming off the wall.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't David go after somebody earlier this season? I can't remember who it was, but I think it was earlier in the season. He went after somebody.
Yeah, that kind of sounds right.
I think it was in the Dover race that Josh Parker and Justin Fuller had their little set to.
Yeah, David was one of the others.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if it is, this is repeat offender number 2. And it might be time for Joey and the crew to look at his SIM500 Transervice Cup Series license if that is the case. But that's why we're here and we're not next door in race control.
No kidding. Yes. We've got a shovel tonight, though, and we're digging a hole. But that's the way it goes sometimes with these. You just got to kind of call it as you see it. Field has shuffled. The 23 went to pit road after grabbing the lead. So did the 39 of Faulkingham. King stayed out. Now there's going to be some new players up in this top 10. 79 laps down. Is this the right strategy? It continues to be one of those things, Tim, where you just don't know. You don't know what the feel of the car is, the laps left, when's the right time to go get your final set of tires. And I believe what we've just seen is the 23 and the 39 both just made their bed. They've done their final pit stops.
Absolutely, they have it. And I would be a little hesitant on the call, Kevin, because we've seen so many cautions. If you get another caution here in about 15 laps or so, you've still got plenty of time to get back to the front. We saw it with Kevin King. So I don't think this race is over. I don't think Kevin King's race is over, and I don't think those guys have pitted. I think it's far from over for them, too. Green flag flies over Kevin King, and he's well underway down the front straightaway. The teammates from Aftermath in behind is Justin Fuller for the first time this evening. He's a race-high second, and he'll look for the lead and look to maybe play a little bit of defense here, too.
Yeah, big moment over there for, I want to say, EJ O'Rourke. I don't know who it was. The car had a white tail on the bumper, just completely sideways going in, but able to gather the car up and keep going. We're still under green here. As you see, a challenge for the lead, trying to get underneath Kevin King, not able to get it. Going to tuck back in. Contact on the front stretch. These guys are elbows up here at lap 81.
Absolutely, and it's all throughout the field. Richard Beasley battling with Daniel Faulkingham. You got Josh Parker trying to make his way through as well. It's a little bit of a traffic jam here in the middle of the pack.
See Daniel Faulkingham just absolutely drive the car wide open down into turn 3, sails it in there to the apron, gets down underneath the 43 of Doug Roth, currently running in that 11th position, having a quiet, solid night in that number 43. Right in front of him, Bentley Glazer has come to the top 10, top 11. He's sitting right behind the EJ O'Rourke, number 41, recovered from the incident earlier. So, as we said, new players in the top 10 here. We're going to have to see how the complexion of this race changes as the laps tick on.
Kevin King continues to lead Justin Fuller as the middle of this pack continues to be the exciting place to be. There's Doug Roth on your screen in the 43. Decent run for Doug, currently running 14th, but he's got some fast cars behind him because here comes Mike Kelly looking to the inside. Randy Yoakum, after having his spin earlier, trying to come to the front of the field. A lot of speed out of that 8 car this evening, trying to get what he can after being behind the 8 ball here a little bit earlier. And Richard Beasley with that damaged right side of the race car battling with Scott Stenson.
We raced Phoenix last week in lieu of racing the season finale there. They wanted to change that up. And this racetrack, flat, not a lot of banking. While it's strange how much speed you carry in, it does drive a little bit like that. And the drivers who love these flat racetracks where you sail the car in and get it on edge like we described earlier, if they like Phoenix and ran well there, they're going to run well here tonight. We see some of these drivers like a Randy Yoakum having a good night. Some drivers are just acclimated to these flat tracks.
Absolutely, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago when we went to Road America. There are some drivers that enjoy road course racing. There are some drivers that like the super speedway and excel at super speedway racing. Then you got some drivers that do excel at short tracks and these different racetracks that we do run. And Loudon is one of those tracks that really brings out a driver. As Kevin King leads his field, Trey is looking at Justin for position number 2. And the battle that we have right now is Faulkingham and Parker. Nose to tail, lockstep right now as they pass Kevin Brown and the Goya can, Jose Gonzalez. And Kevin nearly got Jose going to the corner.
Yeah, they are tight undercover there, that group. You see the 23 go underneath the 26, following in the footsteps, but not as fast at this point as Faulkingham. Faulkingham is knifing through the field. Well, he followed the same blueprint as Kevin King did, change tires, and seen a lot of drivers, Tim, venture down there to the apron. After seeing Kevin King do that, no one was down there in the beginning of the race. Quite a few drivers here and there we see cutting down on that apron.
And I think this is a great strategy for Parker because the 39 is almost clearing the path for him. He's making the holes. He's setting up the passes, and then by the time he gets to the inside or the outside of the next car in line, he ends up making the move as a lot of drivers are darted towards the apron. Daniel Faulkingham now goes to the inside of the 58 as Pedro Mojica sees the 39 just barely poke out there on the left-hand side, and now Parker again follows him through. Faulkingham made the hole, and Faulkingham is still technically in the hole, and Parker will try to follow him through on the inside.
They're going to sneak past Pedro Mojica as the 39 gets a little bit loose off of turn number 4. Parker to his back bumper. As much as Parker is following the 39, at some point he's going to need to leapfrog him. He's not going to want the 23 to get out there first. Trey Edson, second place, the number 5, has sneaked past the Justin Fuller car running in third. And Trey Edson could be the sleeper here tonight. That car has been fast, and he's come up 23 slots to run in second.
Yeah, he's kind of methodically worked his way up and has been quiet in doing so. We talked about Adam Gilliland earlier ripping through the field, and Trey was doing the same thing, just maybe wasn't doing it at the speed that Adam Gilliland was, and now Trey finds himself a good track position. Sitting in position number 2 and biding his time right now as we've got 40 laps to go, this time by across the stripe, and Kevin King continues to lead with Trey Edson in second, and the driver's still coming through the field. Byron Daly now has Daniel Faulkingham and Josh Parker right behind him.
Byron Daly kind of having a quiet race. The car was slip sliding earlier, but right now it looks like he's gotten comfortable. Some of these drivers, it does take a while to settle in, and all of a sudden they find that line that is comfortable for them. One of the things you notice is Faulkingham slips underneath. There's all these little white dashes that create different lanes. The real racetrack has a full dash. These are more like dots. And drivers just continually drive in and look for those and determine how much the car is sliding through the corner and whether they're crossing over the seams or not. They do use those markers on the racetrack to try and figure it out. A car that was slip sliding earlier figures out how to get down and get to the right place in the seam and get the car more stable. As it doesn't reflect well. It's the 33 in the grass over there in turn number 3 as he cut the corner, trying to keep pace with Josh Parker and Daniel Faulkingham, who have come from deep in the pack to 5th and 6th.
Yeah, all the way back to a top 5 effort, and it might be a top 5 effort for both as the 51 of Justin Fuller begins to feel the pressure a little bit from the 39 of Daniel Faulkingham, and Daniel on the back porch as the caution flag will fly, and it's Scott Stenzel. Is that who that is? Yeah, it's a 63 car round at the exit of turn 2. Bring up the caution.
Kong Beer Bong instant replay. What are we on, number 5 now, I think? Take a quick
Number
peek
6.
at this. Number 6. Someone's been paying attention to notes. Kong Beer Bong number 6 caution. We're going to take a quick peek at it, focus in on that personal comfort number 63, and you can see same deal as we've seen before. Gets into the corner great, just a little bit too hot when he tries to accelerate off the corner. Kind of just loses the back end of the race car, spins it on around. A little bit of damage on the back end from a previous incident, it looks like, but he is able to grab a gear, gets that thing going once again. Once he can get it out of the grass, get it down on pit road, get some tires on it. Still on the lead lap. 29 cars still in the race, 29 cars still on the lead lap. So long way to go and a short time to get there, but he's going to try it.
Hey, Paul, that almost looks like a wreck we saw Wednesday night in the Tim's Corner live show, only Brittany Hoyt put it into the wall instead of overcorrecting it and keeping it out of the traffic. So just wanted to point that out.
And then he was also wearing pants, I assume, in this wreck.
Well, we don't have a Scott Stenzel cam to find out if he's wearing pants or not, nor do I really want to know. Kevin King is down on pit road, and he's joined by a few friends.
Parker, Mahuika, Fuller, Dalton, Fuller, Brown, Daly, Yoakum, all of them heading to pit road, probably 3/4 of the field. The one that did not go in, 39. Daniel Faulkingham stayed out. You have to wonder, Tim, if he's going to wait till later, seeing how fast he came through the field, and at last moment take those set of tires and see if he can best the rest of the field.
Yeah, I think with Parker coming down, I think you almost had to come down at that point to get service on the race car, because he's going to have Nelson Rivera behind him, Bobby Wetzel, Ron Holyfield, and then Kevin King in the rest of the field. So he's only going to have 3 buffer cars, make that 2 because Holyfield is coming to pit road in the 90. So it's again, that's why we're up here and not on the box and not in these race cars. But Faulkingham has had some speed. We'll see what happens with that speed in the 39 compared to those drivers on newer tires.
Yeah, the last caution was lap 68. We're working 96, about 20 laps. That's how long it took Faulkingham to drive through the field. So if he can get within the next 10 laps another caution, that smidge of a fresher tire might make a difference for him. And really what we saw is in fresh tires, you can go down to the apron. I think that's what's required in order to make that move. And maybe that Daniel is counting on that, or maybe he just thinks he can be wide, high, wide, and handsome here and hold everybody off to the end. Hard to tell what's going to happen here, but he's going to have a lot of hungry drivers with fresh tires right behind him.
Yeah, absolutely he is, but he's also going to have Nelson Rivera and Bobby Wetzel there as well. So interested to see what they do. Bobby qualified in the middle of the pack tonight. Had that little slide we saw a little bit earlier on, and now he's going to try something from position number 3. What that is, we don't know, but we'll see what happens. Field's doubling up. We're coming back to green next time.
It looks like the biggest loser in this exchange is the 23. Where is Josh Parker? He did not end up tight to these leaders. He's back a little bit. Was he not running? Well, I guess he's kind of where he sorted out.
Yeah, he's back there within the top 10. He's probably where he should be. It was around 5th when he came down, or 6th when he came down to pit road before those the caution flag flew. So net loss of 2 positions, but there's 3 cars in front of him that stayed out. So it's probably about where he was, but not where he wants to be. And I think this is the bed. All these drivers that are here have to lay in it. We're going to come down to 33 laps to go. We take the green flag.
Big jump as soon as the pace car hit the yellow line. Faulkingham dived underneath. The Kevin King 88 is going to follow through to second position by turn number 1. They're 4 wide as they go into turn 2, 3. Oh, how are they going to come out of here?
Adam Gilliland getting a little aggressive with the 22, and Nelson Rivera nearly tagged him going down into turn number 1, nearly tagged him on the back, and he'll go to the inside and pick up the position 4 wide, and behind them, Bobby Wetzel trying to hold on for dear life as they all scatter left and right of the Raging Cajun number 9.
I have no idea how Josh Parker held his line down there. He was wide open as the yellow's out for Randy Yoakum one more time. But I am shocked that the 23 was able to hold that car through 3 and 4.
And that was Bobby Wetzel that went around in the middle of the pack. And Paul, that's the pinball that we saw coming in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yes, that it was. You can't miss it because it's bright chrome. We're going to take a look at coming out of the corner here. Business is picking up, boys. Everybody's getting antsy. Everybody's got the best tires they've got all race. And you see these guys just battling for position. The 2 and the 9 kind of bounce off of each other. And the 2 of Mike Kelly goes down, tags the inside pit wall. Looks like everybody else gets by scot-free here. So it's tough. A lot of damage on that 9 car. Still going to be on the lead lap. Going to be spending a little bit of time under this caution working on the virtual sheet metal of that machine.
This is probably not the caution the 39 was looking for. He probably wanted to run a couple laps to get the goodie off the tires before he could duck in and take advantage of that. Now he's still sitting there in second position. He didn't lose too much, Tim, but we'll see as we come around here whether he's going to duck off and go get tires or stay put, and he's going to stay put.
I'm surprised Nelson Rivera is coming. The 22 car, I would think, is the same strategy. You wait, maybe 10 more laps or so to come down into pit road. You come down with 20 to go and get what you can. Nelson's had a really good run tonight, though. Has been in the top 10 for most of it, qualified in position number 5. And he'll come down and he'll have some work to do to pass about 20 cars to get back within what would be a top 5 run here, I think.
Yeah, but I could revisit that number 81 incident over on the backstretch. He was literally pushing the 22 down the backstretch. I think that's a compelling reason for the 22 to go to pit road, but the 81 was against the outside wall, bounced off it, turned down into turn 3, and somehow was able to come out the other side. So one of the cool dynamics of this racetrack, Tim, is when you drive it into the corner and you find that grip, doesn't matter whether we've seen apron, first lane, second lane, third lane, fourth lane, you could just continue to lay the hammer down and drive that lane out of it. We saw cars 4 wide coming off of turn 2 there without challenges. So you just got to love this racetrack for that.
Well, the racing has been great, especially with that last restart, but there's still some racing to be done. We'll see if these guys can get into a rhythm and get 28 laps in green flag, but I don't think we're done seeing some of the pushing and the shoving that this package provides, especially here at Loudon as we get ready to go back to green next time.
King and just about the rest of the field pitted lap 94. Faulkingham pitted lap 76. The question remains whether Daniel can hold on for a period of time and be in the hunt to the end of this race, or get that caution and get some fresh tires and lead flag all these drivers. I don't know. It's a gutsy call for the 39 to stay up here.
It is, but you kind of have the strategy that you have right now. You kind of have to lay in the bed that you have made, as field will come by this time. I believe the lights come out this time, and we should be back to racing next time by, and looks like they will do so. And now we'll form back up.
Reviewing the leaders of this race as things have played off, we've had 5 different leaders. King led on the outset for 20 laps. Faulkingham took over command. King came back, charged to the lead, lap 88. Justin Fuller led for 1 lap, 78, then went to pit road, and King has resumed control of the race through to lap 103. So King has led the most laps here tonight and is going to restart. Every one of these restarts, we're working restart number 7, provides an opportunity for them to have to figure out how to change up the restart to get a good jump. We saw one restart where they went side by side, and the 23 was able to take advantage. Let's see how this restart plays out with Faulkingham. He's got to be careful, Tim, not to spin the tires on the outside.
Yeah, and he backs it up just a little bit, but Kevin King's been getting great starts anyway. He'll dive it into turn number 1, and now we'll see what Faulkingham really has. Adam Gilliland up the racetrack a little bit. Daniel Faulkingham comes down to kind of pinch off the run. Trey Edson gets into the 39 and gets him a little bit sideways, and they're all stacking up behind.
Yeah, with those fresh tires, the 81 got great drive off out of turn number 2. So did the 23, was able to pull alongside. Faulkingham just kind of holding on right now, trying to keep everybody at bay, as Kevin King has a 2-car length lead going into turn number 1, with now Josh Parker trying to chase down the 81 of Adam Gilliland. The teammates, I think, are going to race each other clean as the 81 steps out coming off, and we have the 51 around over off of turn number 2.
And that will bring out the caution flag, and you saw it live here on Vidane as the 51 of Fuller got to the inside, and Paul had kind of stepped out away from him, and he did a great job not overcorrecting and coming back into the field or into the wall, but it's still going to be a caution. Cue up that Kong Beer Bong instant replay.
Roll that beautiful Kong footage, and you can see we're coming out of the corner here. Everything looks good getting in. Everything looks good center, and as he comes off, a little bit of a tag there from Kevin Brown, maybe a little bit of a push as he started to go around. But you can see, as you made mention, Tim, no damage on that 51 personal comfort ride. So he grabs the gear, he gets going again, maybe come down, see if he's got a set of tires, and put them on the car. It's gonna be short restart, only a few laps to go, but hey, anything's worth it at this point.
I have to wonder, Monday morning quarterback, if he was trying to stay off the 58. The 58 in front of him did not have a good corner, and it almost looked like when he checked up, had unhooked the car. Unhooked? Is that a word? Unhooked the car, and the car just stepped out on him, and then he ended up chasing it off the corner. But Daniel Faulkingham, this is the caution he was looking for as he heads to pit road, drops in that first pit box. It'll be 4 tires and fuel, and now with 24 to go, we'll see whether or not Faulkingham has played the right strategy.
There's the 51 down on pit road getting the tires. David Comstock also down, and Richard Beasley down onto pit road to get service in his race car. So a routine service for some of those drivers at the back of the field as we'll come down. We'll have a start with just over 20 laps to go. There's, I think there's some action and some excitement that be had here in these next couple laps. Daniel Faulkingham continued to kind of fall back. He's in the bed that he's laid in right now, but coming off of pit road, he's got that new set of tires on his race car. So abandoning the strategy just a little bit, and we'll see what he can get in the remaining 20 laps or so of this one.
If we look at the dynamic of our top two, Kevin King leading the 81 of Adam Gilliland in second. Both of them 3 wins on the season. Only Faulkingham has bettered them with 5 wins. So the question is, will one of these two leapfrog the other? Teammates, I'm sure they're going to race each other well, but my suspicion is Gilliland, as he told us recently, he's in a dry spell. He wants another win, and this could be the place to try and get that opportunity. You know, no better way to do it, Tim, than when you're running in the top 5.
Yeah, having a great run and trying to close it out. The 81 of Adam Gilliland's missed a couple of races. He hasn't had a whole lot of time to test. Kevin King has been doing, especially this week with New Hampshire, with the A cars being here on the service. He's had some time to play around. He's had some time to test and do some laps, and obviously it shows. Kevin King is once again at the top of his game and trying to hold off the rest of the field with a restart with probably 21 to go.
Yeah, Gilliland has 8 top 5, second in the league to Faulkingham with 13. Gonzalez and King have 7 top 5s. So even though King started late, he's still climbing the rung as far as statistics go. But Gilliland, no slouch for the races that he's been here. But I'm positive that he would like to notch another win in the win column. And if it's at Kevin King's expense, well, that's okay. I'm sure he'll be okay as long as it's clean and they don't take each other out. They'll be happy to get whatever they can. It is King, Gilliland, Parker, Edson, Mojica, Daly, Brown, O'Rourke, Glazer, and Gonzalez. Your top 10. We're going to keep an eye on Daniel Faulkingham, 21st for the restart with his new fresh tires here on lap 109.
Pace car is in and Kevin King is gone one more time. Green flag flies as the 5 of Trey Edson tries to get by the 23 of Josh Parker. Gives that little shove to the 81 down into the corner, but here comes the 23 back on the personal comfort Gary Mercer trucking number 81 as Pedro Mojica down to the inside. There's some action to be had here at the front of the field.
Still side by side as they race into turn number 3. High side for Adam Gilliland, slides high, trying to get the momentum up off the corner. Parker drives deep into the corner. Good run off. Parker has the advantage. Here comes Gilliland with momentum. They're dead heat at the start-finish line. Gilliland drives it in deep to the outside. Still side by side, gives Parker the ability to run through, but it's going to be Gilliland with the win. Up, slides sideways, but it's not going to matter. Yellow out here.
Oh, lots of cars involved. Richard Beasley, Daniel Faulkingham is destroyed on the infield. The 3 of Jeff Ryan involved in this one. And, oh, man, a lot of cars tore up. Daniel Faulkingham, heavy damage to the first rate bait, number 39. And we'll back up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay and see what happened here. And, well, racing trying to go for the same piece of real estate. And actually it happened in front of the 39. Paul starts with the 3 of Jeff Ryan.
Yeah, we're going to focus in on that 3 car coming out of the corners once again here. And, pardon me, you can see just as he's coming into the corner, the 9 gets into the 33, sends the 3 up. Check that. Up into the corner, gets him spun around. Nowhere for the 39 to go, and a couple of other cars there. You can see the 6, the 43 of Roth in there as well. So a lot of drivers trying a lot of different lines throughout the night. Everybody seems like they've picked their favorite one, and it seems like everybody's in the same one.
Yeah, I would say that signals the end of Faulkingham's winning car. That car is not going to compete. Had that happen again in one of my races this week, one of the cars came off and I hit a dead center just the way Faulkingham T-boned. I didn't go in and plow into the tires, but the 39 is going to be pretty messed up after that. So, well, we're going to see what else happens as everybody goes in. The 6 is in, quite a bit of damage on the front of that car. Going back to that restart, though, the 23 and the 81, what a fierce battle off of turn number 2.
Absolutely. And Josh Parker wasn't going to let Adam Gilliland have it easy, and Gilliland wanted to take that spot away from Parker to try to fight with Kevin King. That one's not over. I have a feeling that this restart coming up may not be the last restart. These drivers are getting antsy. They want to pick up every position that they can. as we saw with that incident between Joachim and Ryan, push is going to come to shove, and somebody is going to end up with some bent sheet metal and some bent feelings.
So on the outset, we said we'd probably see a mix of things, green flag runs and cautions. We saw a little bit of green flag racing, but lately it's been this elbows up racing has caused some issues. I would expect, for what it's worth, Tim, that we're just going to continue to see these drivers try to get every inch of the racetrack.
Oh, definitely. There's the give that you were going to give a little bit earlier is going to be now less than the take that you're going to take now. And you're going to take as much as you can to get to the front of the field, or if you're in the middle of the field, pick up those extra couple of positions to get to top 10 or try to move into the top 5. The patience level is probably going to be a little bit low here as we work these final few laps.
There's a dynamic we don't talk about much in the sim racing world, which is where these drivers are in team speak. A lot of these drivers having the conversation amongst themselves about what goes on in their little pods, as we'll call it. It's always interesting to be a fly on the wall in some of those conversations. And then after the race, one of the customary things that the SIM500 teams do is everybody jumps in a channel and playfully they go through every incident in the race and discuss what happens. It's a learning event. It's also a commentary event. Sometimes, well, they get mean. but I always find those debriefs very interesting, after action report, whatever you want to call it. And they're certainly going to have a lively conversation after this race.
Absolutely, they will. There's going to be a couple of incidents that they are going to review, and I'm sure there's some incidents that probably haven't unfolded yet that they are going to discuss. They'll come by this time and have 15 laps to go, take the green flag, and we'll see who comes out on the other side. I don't want to say completely clean, but we'll see who comes out on the other side of this one.
Watching Trey Edson, I think he might be a factor in this, as he was pushing the 81 literally down the front stretch last time. We'll see what kind of restart he gets and how much of a help he'll be to Adam Gilliland. Same thing, as they get to the start line, he is at the back bumper, shoving the 81 into turn number 1. 23 dives low, covers that. He's got to get a good drive off. The car is straight. He's going to take over that second position. And look at Byron Daly right there in his tire tracks.
Yeah, Byron Daly trying to get a podium finish out of this one and goes to the inside of the 5 of Trey Edson. Adam Gilliland shuts the door and almost got himself spun around there in between a hole that wasn't there. Now he goes to the inside. He's got that line. Tried to get to the inside of Parker. Parker gets a launch good enough to fend off the 81, and now it's the 81 that has to be on the defense. Goes way to the inside. 5 of Trey Edson going to try to get the run off the corner. Can't get there, but he's going to get it down the straightaway. Does he go to the inside here?
Yeah, I think part of what Gilliland's doing is covering his tracks, making sure that you can't go down and get a fender underneath him, as the 33 dives down underneath last year's champion Trey Edson. Not able to do it, tucks back in behind him so he can turn down into the corner. Out behind them, there's quite a bit of contest going on. See the 26, Goyacan, trying to make the move underneath the 38 of Chad Coleman. Talked about how good Chad Coleman is. He's contested for that 9th position right now.
Yeah, putting on a fairly good run here as he goes to the inside of 38 of Chad Coleman. Haven't talked about Chad a whole lot this evening, but quietly working his way into the top 10. Looks like he's going to have a good run out of this one, but he's got Justin Fuller in there to the back bumper, Tommy Ryan. They're going to have to fight if they want to hold on to a top 10 run. Same with EJ O'Rourke after having his spin earlier in the top 10 in the late laps.
Interesting dynamic in this top 10. You have Mr. Consistency, Pedro Mojica. You have the 38, Chad Coleman, consistency. The 26 usually runs well, consistent. And then right in front of him, I'm going to call out the 41 of BJ O'Rourke and Kevin Brown. They seem to be hit and miss sometimes. They're both fast, but they need to put together a full race, and both of them are doing it here right now, running in the top 10. 7th for Brown, right behind him is EJ O'Rourke. Good recovery for him in the top 10. Strong run for the 41 running in 8th position.
Yeah, EJ looking at one more spot here is Kevin Brown just ahead of him, and that's going to be a battle down to the stripe at the end of this one as it continues to be Kevin King up in front and leading and kind of pulling away by about a half second or so as the Goya can loses one spot to Justin Fuller. And in behind them, 3 wide, Scott Stenzel. I don't know where Scott Stenzel came from late here, but might have been new tires in that race car because he's going to go in. That almost got close. Chad Coleman, 38, sideways, and that's not going to work out very well. That'll draw the caution.
Tough break for the 38 late in the race.
It is, but we'll back up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. But Paul, I think Chad, he might have got a little contact from Ty. Never mind. I was going to say he ran it into the wall himself, but he had help.
Yeah, a little bit of help there. It's one of those shots we're going to have to take a look from the Kong Beer Bong instant replay from up in the blimp view. Focus in on that 38 car, 38 up high by the wall. Tommy Ryan in the 99 in the center and the 63 down on the low side there. And you can see just 3 drivers head into the corner. Everything looks good till about the center. 99 gets a little loose coming off here, and you can see it was close up into the wall, and not much contact, but there was a little bit there. And then you can see the 38 kind of pancakes the wall, gets spun around, and shoots on down to the land that Beasley found it earlier down here on the road course.
Yeah, if you watch that replay where the 38 is, the right rear made contact in the word new in New Hampshire on the flag back there. And just that little glance turned him down into the 99, and that was the result. So just trying to get all that he could out of that Camaro up off the corner, and sometimes it just sneaks up and bites you real quick.
And especially late in this race where everybody is fighting for every little piece of real estate around this racetrack, you're going to push and you're going to shove, and you're going to get every piece of real estate in every position that you can as you come down to the end of this one. And now it's going to be a restart with probably 6, maybe 5 laps to go in this race. And Kevin King and Josh Parker have kind of had it figured out in the last couple of restarts, but now Adam Gill and Trey Edson going to have a couple more chances, or at least one more chance at getting what they can back. And it's shaking up the lineup. We kind of mentioned EJ O'Rourke's hanging around in the top 10. He's still in 8th. Jose Gonzalez still in 10th. Scott Stenzel up there in 11th. Made his way back up through the field with that little bit of damage on his race car. There's plenty of work for some of these drivers to do as the lights remain on top of the pace car, I believe. So we'll have a couple more laps here before we set these guys off. 5 to go, I think, on the restart.
You know, in the debrief, they're going to blame that on me because I just talked about how good Chad Coleman was running here.
Yeah, Chad's not running where he wants to right now.
Broadcaster curse.
Yeah, exactly. He spent some time on pit road, got that thing hammered out, but he's going to restart probably 27th. He's going to have to dodge whatever happens in front of him.
Yeah, and the good news for Faulkingham was that happened and puts the 38 behind him. Looking at Faulkingham for this race in dedication to his father, I know he wanted to have a better result. Currently running in 23rd. Car not up to speed, but sometimes you can make the car competitive because you can hold your speed in the corners. It's just going to limp it home these final couple laps and see how this turns out.
Yeah, get what he can, get a couple of extra points, and put this thing in the rearview mirror and move on to next week. But all you can do right now, if you're Daniel Faulkingham and some of those drivers in the back of the field that haven't had the night that they have wanted to, lights are out atop the pace car. We'll come back and have 5 more laps to decide who wins this one and see if Kevin King can hold on for another victory. They
were saying this place has a special place in his heart because this is a racetrack that they came to together. So I know Daniel wanted to have a better result, but I'm sure he had a lot of fun while he was challenging through the pack there. As we get ready for the restart, field rolls down the backstretch. It's King, Parker, Gilliland, and Edson. Same restart as we've seen before. We'll see whether King is going to change it up, how much the 5 is going to be an impact. Well, actually, we switched the 23s to the outside. The 5's been pushing the 81 the last couple of restarts, so as the pace car turns in, we'll have to see how this plays out. And don't give up on that 33 sitting right there. He could sneak away with something.
And they're 3 wide, already behind in the middle of the pack. Kevin King will take the advantage down into 1. Josh Parker will find his way to 2nd. Justin Fuller is already down there on the apron trying to make things happen. Top 2 are single file. They're 3, and almost 4 wide in the middle of the pack.
King streaks away with the lead. He holds Bay over top of the 23. Josh Parker charges out of turn number 4. He's going to close to the back bumper of the 88. He's got a little something for him, I think. We saw before that he was able to get a nose underneath. He comes into the back bumper, right to the bumper cover on the quarter panel. Can he get down inside and drag him back one more time? King knows the move. Is going to cover him out of turn number 2 to the backstretch, diving into turn number 3. Josh Parker has just a couple laps to get it done. Can he get by the 88 and score the win here tonight? 4 to go, coming to 3 to go in New Hampshire.
He's got Kevin King right where he wants him on the front bumper. The question is, how hard does he send it these last couple laps to try to get past the J Concepts, the team, number 88? And keep in mind, those guys behind them, and you can kind of see it off the limb shot, are battling really hard. Guys around Fuller and E.J. O'Rourke and Jose Gonzalez, Kevin Brown. They're working on a wreck back here. It just hasn't happened yet as the field will come by to 2 to go.
Yeah, Fuller drove extremely hard down into 3, slid the car up. Brown saw him coming, gave him a little room. They're side by side out of 4 for that 8th position. Fuller has it. Brown streaks to the outside. Fuller drives it deep down in. This is the first side by side battle through turn number 2. Fuller steps out a little bit, but able to carry the speed, still ahead. It's a dead heat going down the back straightaway as King is pulled out to a 2-car length lead over the 23 coming out of turn number 4. Big tap to the back of the 51. Fuller able to get around Brown, give the 7th position to Justin Fuller here with just a lap to go.
That move is what you call clear enough for Justin Fuller. Kind of hip check the 93 up the racetrack. But up in front, it's all Kevin King and car number 88 down the back straightaway for the final time in this Transervice Cup Series race at SIM500. He'll roll through corners number 3 and 4 and look for the checkered flag this time. Josh Parker, his home racetrack. He'll come up to finish position number 2 behind Kevin King. He will win the Loren Faulkingham Memorial 130. Josh Parker in second. Trey Edson comes home in third. Adam Gilliland and Byron Daly, your top 5 at the end of this one.
Finishing out the top 10, Mojica, Fuller, Brown, O'Rourke, and Gonzalez are your top 10. Good run for Tommy Ryan sitting there in 11th, Bentley Glazer in 12th as the field runs around. It was an action-packed race. I guess that's the way we could describe it. And it is Kevin King coming away with win number 4 on the season here, the SIM500 Transervice Cup.
And give a call out to Trey Edson and Adam Gilliland, 25th and 24th in the starting grid, comes home 3rd and 4th respectively. So they did a really great job here this evening as well, keeping their cars intact and bringing them home with solid efforts. And I know Trey said a little bit earlier on in the season, doesn't get a whole lot of time to test. So it's great to see him up there. We'll chat with your top 3 here in just a few moments' time.
And for the point championship, just looking at where the 39 finished, 22nd for Daniel Faulkingham in the Loren Faulkingham 100.
Kevin King continues to celebrate here on the front straightaway as the winner, and we'll catch up with Josh Parker, who finishes in position number 2. And Josh, let's chat about the race. What else did you need on that final restart to get Kevin King?
Clean air. I think it's so brutal. You just lose all downforce on the nose. I felt like I was a little quicker through the center. And the start of the race, I was kind of just trying to save the right rear, and towards the end there, I was able to just run my laps that I want to run, and just we need a little more green flag runs. I think honestly, it's just, the aero is just terrible, but the track was fun.
We had some differing pitch strategies here this evening, you included in one of them. Talk about coming through the field. Obviously, the dirty air made things a little bit frustrating, but how fun was it to try to carve through traffic on new tires?
It was fun. This track went from the worst track in the game to, I would say, top 3 in the track right now with how they have the grip going on. You can run 3 or 4 different lines. So I had a blast. I was just trying a little different thing. We had an extra set to burn, so I wasn't going to pit twice if I didn't pit there. So I might as well pit there and just use the set and see what happens. So it ended up working out.
Kevin King's been winning all these races. What do you got to do to beat him here in the next couple of weeks and pick yourself up a couple wins?
Get the pole, stay out front. That's pretty much the name of the game. When you get these good guys here, you got 10 guys that can run within tenths of each other every lap. It's going to come down to whoever starts in front of you or whoever saves left tires. I mean, even if you save tires, it comes to a point to where track position still matters. So, yeah, we just got to qualify a little better to set the pace. We did it today. We qualified fourth. I was able to kind of save my right rear a little bit to start the run and not lose too much track position. And yeah, I mean, Kevin's on the roll. Dude's been good for forever. So, like I said, you get so many guys that are in the same pool of talent that it comes down to, track position when at the end of these races.
Who do you got in this race car? Who's on the team that helps you
out? Interstate Batteries. Obviously, everything they do for me in NASCAR Heat. We're going to run the Interstate Batteries car on Thursday night. We're in a 5K to win NASCAR Heat League. League. Pro League. So we got $5,000 to win Thursday at Atlanta. So I got Interstate on the car for that. Joe Gibbs Racing, Boris, everything they do for me. Charlie, Larry, everyone at team name, Chad, Faulkingham, my teammate, Bill Schoonover. He texted me today trying to tell me one of us needs to beat Kevin, and that didn't work. So yeah, I mean, I had fun. It was a good group. You guys for doing the broadcast, and yeah.
So if you win 5K on Thursday night, how much Bud Light is that going to buy?
A lot. 5K on Thursday. Let's see. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Chad keeps bitching about his pedals, so I might just buy him a set of pedals so he shuts the I can't even swear. So he shuts the hell up. But then yeah, I'll buy a bunch of Bud Light. I'll get Strickland over my house to start slamming some back. But yeah, I gotta give a shout out to Adam too. Adam been spot for me all year. We're having a great year, way better than last year, minus the fact that I was suspended. But yeah.
Well, there we go. That's Josh Parker finishing in second. And Kevin, I think if he wins, we might have a party here Thursday night. We're going to have to keep an eye on that NASCAR Heat side of things. But I believe you've caught up with Trey Edson, who finishes in position number 3.
Yeah, Trey Edson, speaking of popping a cold one here. 3rd place tonight. Good, respectable finish. You were in the hunt all night long. What did it take to get past those two out in front of you?
Josh kind of hit on it there. I mean, it's just tough when you're behind people and you need like a super long run to where the tires fall off and people start slipping and sliding around. But it was really just kind of the restarts, be in the right line or time it right and try to roll when Kevin rolls. But probably the last 3 or 4 restarts, I was behind the 2nd place car, and they're kind of in a bad spot to never get going. So I don't know what happened in qualifying. I've never had it happen where I get loose enough to get a black flag. So that was interesting to start back in the weeds. Yeah, I mean, normally it'll just say, or normally it just lets you keep going. But I got loose off 2, and it gave me the furled or curled, whatever the hell it's called. And the lap don't count. So that was neat. And just kind of followed Adam up through there. I haven't really watched any NIS or really anything, so I thought he was screwing around when he was running the apron. And he's like, "No, I'm dead serious. Like, this works." And I'm like, "Whatever, man. You keep doing you." And then he drove off, and I was like, "Well, hell, I got to figure that out." So just kind of drove in the top 10, and then stayed on a somewhat normal strategy and played their lanes right there on the restart. So kind of. There was one run where I got to 2nd, and I was kind of matching Kevin, but there just comes a point to where him and Adam were just really, really good through 3 and 4, and I couldn't quite figure it out, and they would just kind of start, like Adam would start catching me, and Kevin was kind of inching away. So
it seems like the difference in this track is being able to get back to the throttle coming up off the corner.
Yeah, and I'm always really bad about trying to haul ass into the corner and roll a bunch of center speed, so that kind of kills the exit. So I think that's some of it, is I probably burn the tires up, rolling a ton of center speed, and then it was really loose when you jump back in the gas, so I had to adapt to that. I'm kind of a boomer where I need to just mat it and it drive off. I need the car to do all the work. I'm too old to be digging.
I know that.
Be sweating over here.
Yeah. You'd be turning right to go left.
I know. I watch some of these streams, and these guys are just like elbows up, like just straight digging. And I'm like, God almighty, I don't drive that hard. Like, maybe that's my problem. I'm just over here like Sunday cruising.
Well, they call that running in the slip tray. But I got to say, we were watching your restarts on that outside lane, and you're right. That's one of the toughest places to start, especially when the leader gets the jump. And, you did a fair job just pushing yourself down into turn number 1 and 2 and holding those positions. So, hey, look, third place, not too shabby with the competition you have going here. Who helps you get it done tonight on that number 5?
Yeah, just I kind of hit on this every week where I'm not on here a lot, so thanks to Adam and Fuller and whoever else is in our team speak. Thanks to them for kind of just always kind of catching me up on what lanes work and all that good stuff. So thanks to Joey and SIM500 for carrying the league and all the sponsors, and Mike Montesi and Onsite Gas. We're slowly, man, we've had an awful season. So about the past month, we're slowly starting to kind of string some top 10s together and get the thing headed in the right direction as the playoff comes here. So I don't know what internet service provider Kevin has, but we gotta get a hold of him and see if we can start jiggling some cords or something. But
maybe if Josh Parker was at 5,000, he could send a check
Yeah.
over to give Kevin some.
exactly.
I'd rather him fall out. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what I work for a provider, so I don't know if he wants to tell me. I mean, he might have an account with us that I can mess around with, but no, seriously, he's Kevin. Like Parker said, Kevin's always been good since hell. He I think he ran DMP back in, I don't know what year that was, 2003, 2004. That's how long us old jokers have been doing it. So he's always been really good when he can dedicate the time and really figure it all out. He's just same with Josh. I mean, he used to run DWC. People forget that, but they're super smooth. And anytime I can even be within a straightaway of them, I feel pretty good about myself.
Yeah, I have notes for some of these guys back to the early 2000s, Josh Parker being one of them for sure. And I just have one question before we let you go. How did it feel to drive down there on that apron for the first time and try and figure that out during the race?
I thought I was going to do what EJ did, where I just spun out. Because sometimes you get down in there and you get back in the gas and it de-wedges the car and it does all kinds of crazy things. But it actually had a lot of left rear bite and drove up out of there a lot better than I thought. But like I said, I would try to enter really fast and roll a bunch of speed, and so sometimes I would miss kind of getting it rotated and getting a good drive off. So if we had to do it all over and run a whole nother race, I'd probably be a lot better at it. But yeah, it was mind blowing. I'm like, when did they? I don't want to say screw up New Hampshire because it was actually awesome, but it's not the line I was used to seeing.
Yeah, no doubt. There you go, Trey Edson, third place finisher, and we're going to turn it over to Tim, who's standing with us smiling. Kevin King after the win tonight.
It's a 4th win on the season for Kevin King. And Kevin, this one wasn't easy, but at the end, lots of restarts, having to fight off Parker and Adam Gilliland and Trey Edson. How did you do it on those restarts to secure this win?
I mean, we only had a couple laps each time. It actually worked out in my favor. I screwed up my strategy and I pit way too early. So the fact that we had those yellows worked in my favor. Basically, it was the first couple laps I knew were a little sketchy. Josh was really fast from the get-go. He passed me one run like I was standing still. And I just knew I had to be, super smooth the first couple laps and just maintain kind of the gap off the corner. And I knew eventually it would kind of inch away and make it a lot harder once the tires came up to temperature. But yeah, he was really quick on those short runs. And then I saw Trey coming on the medium run that we had, and I was like, oh goodness. And he kind of just stuck there. So I had to be aware of his speed and his pace, but I was really just more focused on counting down tires. I was thinking like I got 70-something laps to make 2 sets of tires last, and I knew I was screwed at that point, but thankfully in the end it kind of worked out in my favor.
You mentioned getting off sequence, trying to come through the field with those drivers on the older tires. How was it trying to bob and weave through?
His internet died.
Yeah, he put Trey. Do you want to answer
Sorry,
that question?
no, I'm good. I was somewhere else. I apologize. No, it was fun. I almost spun out doing it, but I watched some people during the week do it, and I thought it was a little silly, but I knew on new tires you could really make it work really well, and so I just kept going down there. And then it's not the fastest line; it's just the easiest line to pass people that are old tires. And then if I had a chance, I'd move up and gain even more time. But I mean, tires were huge, and that's why I knew putting myself behind the 8 ball early was going to be not good. But I'm kind of happy that some of the guys kind of threw their strategy away to benefit me, and some guys didn't use their extra set of tires. I think they could have and made some progress. Even 3-lap old tires is pretty huge. So, yeah, that was a little shaky. It was fun doing that. But I was thinking just, green flag runs as much as we can so I didn't have to use tires. That was the biggest thing for me.
So now that you're in the top 20 in points, you've got 4 wins. Got a couple of races before these playoffs start. Is the goal trying to get as many wins as you can to pad the lead?
Yeah, I think my original goal was to, be competitive, obviously, but then really get in the top 20 and see if I give myself a chance. Now that I'm in the top 20, now it's really trying to close the gap to Daniel because I know he's got a large gap in terms of bonus points and all that fun stuff, and really just kind of get as close as I can when that stuff starts, and then just put races together. I mean, Daniel's quick. Josh is... I've known Josh for a long time, and he's always been fast. And I think there was time, just like me, where we kind of fell off and we didn't care as much and we weren't as fast. But he's kind of reminding me of the old Josh, where he's fast, but he doesn't drop off in pace anymore. Where probably a couple months ago he'd probably admit that he'd be fast and fall on his face just like I used to do. But now he stays with you. So contending with him and Faulkingham, and then Byron's quick, and then Fuller's got speed. Adam thinks he has speed, but he never really shows it. I think he's hiding it from everybody. But it's not as easy. It's not as easy. It's a lot of circumstantial stuff that I've been able to win some of these things. But I can tell you that once you get into the playoffs, it's going to be quite a bit tougher with some of the talent that we have around us.
Who else makes it happen for you on this team? Who helps you get to the virtual racetrack?
The team, Adam, Daniel Eberhardt, Dylan C. Jones, Blake Cisneros, Logan Kress is out there somewhere, I think, still testing Martinsville. We got Colton Salick just playing baseball all day. You, of course, Tim Terry, Team Associated, J Concepts, Shell, really all the guys in the league that are doing a great job. I heard Trey mention that my internet sucks. I don't know how to fix it. No one blinks to me, but apparently I'm like a blinking light to everyone, and it's really frustrating. I've tried to fix it. I've had people come out, and I don't know how to fix it. So if you have anything to fix it, that'd be great. It's just, I don't know. I don't know why it does it.
More hands.
I appreciate you. I even upgraded it last week because I cut cable, and it's supposed to be faster, but apparently not as good once it hits iRacing and servers. I don't know.
Now
I'm guessing I blinked.
Somebody that might want to look at fixing your internet would be Richard Beasley, because he's had I think the last 3 races, Kevin, he's had a best of like 18th place tonight over the last 3 weeks. So do you think Colton would play him in baseball to at least give him an opportunity to win something?
No, I don't think. I honestly don't think Richard's capable of winning anything anymore. You could give him, the easiest game at a fairground and basically just say, hey, push that thing over, and he probably would still mess that up. So he's on another level of just being a little inept in terms of racing these days. He's kind of fallen on his face, but I'll let him know. He's he's a good friend of mine, known him for a long time. We got to get him out of his funk, because he used to be a lot more competitive and do a lot more things than he's doing now. And I think now he's in super speedway mode, man. I told him once you get to a certain age, he's those guys that we talked about when we were getting older, that we're never going to turn into one of those guys that just run super speedways, and that's what he's turned into. And it's kind of shown for different racetracks.
Ouch.
Well,
I know, I'm sorry, but it's true.
He's not wrong after the last couple of weeks seeing the results in the number 10 team. Kevin King is your winner. Kevin, we said that EJ O'Rourke ran out of talent that he didn't have. We said Richard Beasley ran out of talent that apparently he had at some point. I think we're done.
I think we're done, yeah. Yeah, I look at this, Tim, and say, I loved the description that we got from Trey about de-wedging the car and all of that, because it did describe how hard these guys have to run in order to find speed. They've literally got to run on the edge, and we saw it all night long here for a lot of these drivers. And it was a competitive race. It was elbows up. Sometimes it was fenders up. But for the most part, I think we saw a good show, and that's the way it is on Vidane TV when it's live. And I know, Paul, you got a bunch of different races coming up that we're going to see more of the same.
Absolutely. Just a couple more Wednesday nights off, and then we're back to doing double headers. Tim's Corner Motorsports bringing us Tim's Corner Live, episode number 26 this week, right, Tim?
I think it's 25. I think this week we had the East Coast International Pro Stock Tour kickoff. A lot of racetracks reopening, so we'll have some winners coming up on Wednesday night. Guest lineup to be announced.
Looking forward to that. And then we're going to have the Loose Lugs Racing Series coming back to us on Wednesday night. That's the old Fatheads Cup Series, rebranded. New logo, new colors, same group, same exciting racing. They're going to be kicking off their season here at the road course at Daytona here on July 28th. Thursday night, the Multi-League Cup Series. They're getting close to playoff time as well. And that's going to be very, very exciting. Friday night, going to Stafford Motor Speedway. Always unavailable here at Vidane TV during the summer months. And then next Monday, back here for the Transervice Cup Series put on by SIM500. So lots of cool stuff coming up here this week. Lots of cool stuff in the works for this winter. Just got the finalized schedule for the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing group. They're going to be coming back this winter. East Coast Winter League is going to be coming back. Tim's Corner Motorsports is going to be bringing us some special events, trying to get some drivers qualified in for the All-Star Showcase next year sometime, just before spring, when the regular racing season starts to kick off. And, well, folks, you heard it here first. Coming this fall to a fairgrounds near you, Kevin King, Richard Beasley, cornhole match. But on that note, I think we're going to wrap things up here for Vidane TV. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., Kevin England, and Tim Terry up here in the booth. We'll catch you on the flip side. When we do, we're going to be doing it live.